up, YouTube? So, what has been going on? Well, the last 24 hours have been, what's the word? Real. So, I just got done writing a chapter, or actually proofreading. I had already wrote it. And then they send me the copy, I proofread it, all of that stuff. And I just really needed to get the last 24 hours off of my chest. So, you know, we talk about, you'll hear a lot of us truckers talk about Trucker Path app. And by no means is this sponsored, and by no means am I saying don't use Trucker Path, because Trucker Path saves my ass out here. And I know quite a few truck drivers with all companies that use the app. It comes in clutch all the time. When this dumb shit here wants to go down, Trucker Path's got your back, no matter what. So, having said that, I have a list of little mom and pop places that my first mentor introduced me to, and some that my second mentor introduced me to, and some that I've kind of found on my own using the Trucker Path app. Well, we had a delivery that needed to be delivered this morning at 5:30 in the morning to a Costco in a city in California. I'm not going to say the city. I don't want to get into specifics, but I knew there was a place there's a little area where the highway turns into country road, and there's a shitload of truck stops there. But it's still a good hour and some change to get all the way up the mountains, like in the farm areas. This is where like a lot of the farmers markets and stuff like that are. And doing that at night, it's fine, but I don't really prefer to do it because there's lots of, like, we saw a mountain lion today coming back across, and it was daytime. So there's a lot of like wild animals, and I don't particularly like going down that country road, but every time I've gone to that area of California, this bitch takes me down these country roads. And it's not just her and Swift. There's tons of trucks that go that way, and it keeps us off the highway and it keeps us moving. I get it. Do I care for it? Not so much, but that's okay. Never had a problem. I've never had a problem safety-wise out here like what I'm about to tell you. So, we come to this place. I remembered it. I'd been here before once. And, you know, we were having some issues with the GPS. In this area of California, Wi-Fi is, and we even have a specific Wi-Fi hotspot that we carry on the truck that I learned from my last time out here. You just need it in certain parts of California, otherwise you don't have a way to communicate with anyone. So that wasn't working, nothing was working, and I was like, I know it's off the main road. Hello, we're going to a Costco. I said, I know there's a Walmart there, there's a Lowe's. I delivered to these other places, so I knew that this place was there, but there's a whole bunch of little restaurants, and it's a little travel plaza. Last time I was there last year, didn't have no problems. Now, the same month that I was there last year, I didn't know this until I looked it up yesterday, or this morning I should say. Apparently there was some kind of festival there, and there was a shooting, a lot of shootings. It was considered a mass shooting at the Garlic Festival. So I was like, what the fuck are people shooting at the Garlic Festival for? But it didn't make big time news, but in reading it was quite, there was some dead people, there was some injured people, and it was just quite wild. Well, had I known that ahead of time, we probably wouldn't have parked there. But we did. And, it's one of those areas where, everybody's there. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's people outside. But we're in quarantine right now. So there wasn't a lot of like when we went to get food, because yesterday was a really long day and I was like, fuck it. We were stuck in traffic. There was an overturned 18-wheeler. By the time we got up to it, 2.5 hours later, they had already taken the tractor away. We don't know what happened to the driver or his truck, but his trailer was completely turned over. All the content strung out all along the highway. And the highway's only 2 lanes. So we were fucking backed up. Now, I'm still recapping. So I was like, well, there goes rolling those hours. I like to roll so many hours over so that I have a full day's work every day. Well, I lost 2.5, almost 3 hours with this wreck situation. So we come to the place. I'm exhausted mentally. When you see stuff like that, it just reminds you of how dangerous this job can be. And as soon as we got past, I was barely back over into the right lane, the trucks just start fucking flying. And I'm like, you come to California, you know the speed limit is 55 miles an hour. Who's paying for your fucking tickets, I want to know, and how do you still have a license? So, all my California drivers out there, I don't care if you work with Swift or if you're owner-operator, can you please slow the fuck down, honestly? You don't have to be anywhere that fucking fast, and it's quite fucking annoying. I get honked at, I get flipped off, people yelling stuff at me, people literally drive in front of me, telling me to get the fuck off the road. Bitch, I'm gonna do me. And if you want to kill yourself and wind up flipped on the side of the road, well, then you do that. You do you. But whether I am with Swift or I'm owner-operator or I'm with another company, I'm always going to follow the rules. So, having said that, we go to this place, and Swift always wants you to be in what's called your safe haven. I've been to this place before. Never had a problem. Didn't know about the mass shooting. So in my eyes, it was safe. And I just told my son when we came back from getting the food, I was like, hey, whatever we need to do inside, we need to do it now. This is just not an area that I'm all that familiar with. When I came, we just slept. We stayed in the truck. It wasn't that big of a deal. We kept it moving. I said, but I just don't know that we want to be outside at night. And we were tired, so we went to bed really early. We went to bed at like 7. Drank some water too fast. So it is 1 something in the morning. Went to bed at 7, woke up at 1. Startled. There are people screaming. We were parked right up front and on the furthest outside lane closest to the store. And the fuel islands and the parking was right in front of us. Like, we were front and center. Except we were not centered. We were kind of off to the side. Anyways, you know what I mean. Front row parking. Our trailer was on the outside of all the other trailers. I hear loud shouting. And there's a couple of different voices. There's obviously some kind of altercation going on. Now, side note, at this particular place, I see it often, but at this particular place, there was a lot of Hispanics, and there was a lot of beer buying going on whenever we went in to use the facilities. So I was like, oh, maybe these people are on resets. I mean, I don't fucking know. People drink every night out here. You see it. We all see it. It is what it is. And those are probably the people flipped over on the side of the fucking road. But that's neither here nor there. I hear people fighting outside. And at one point, it almost felt like they were either bumping into the truck or trying to get into the trailer, but somehow the truck was moving. And I looked up at my son and he was asleep. So I was like, my instinct set in and I was like, fuck this. We're going to get down very slowly so that we're not rocking the truck and people don't know that we're awake. And we're going to get the fuck out of here. It's almost 1:30 in the morning at this point. Well, then I realized that it got really fucking quiet outside. Now, it was an escalated fight. Escalated enough. Like, sometimes at truck stops, you hear people arguing. You stay in your truck. You stay with all your curtains closed. And you just sit the fuck still and let people do what they're going to do out there. I've been around that before. This was different. And some of the stuff that we had seen earlier in the day, just, randos passing through that didn't fucking belong there in their four-wheeled cars. It was a little interesting, but, you mind your business. And most people, they don't fuck with Swift because they know we have cameras and, just don't fuck with Swift. People just don't do it. So it got really quiet. And I was like, okay, well, that ended abruptly. So I lay back down. My son is still knocked out. I had told him, be prepared to get out of your bunk very slowly. And my son is a big dude. He's almost 5'11", even though he's 15. He's a big, stocky dude. Most people think he's in his 20s. And I was like, be really careful. We don't want to shake the truck. Just get down. And what we're going to do is we're just going to rip the fucking curtains open and take off. So I'm running recap. So I'm looking at my clock. I'm like, I can't fuck this up. Let's just see what happens. It got really quiet. I tried to lay down in my bunk. And I even had my glasses on. That way, in the event that something actually happened, I'm blind as a fucking bat. I'd be able to see. And if I lived through the ordeal, I'd be able to give a description to the police officers what these fools look like. Well, coming from the upbringing that I come from, I knew better than this. I had listened to the argument. I had listened to the escalation. We heard the scuffling. And we heard the threats. So I was like, fuck this. We need to go. If we're going to go, we need to go now before this guy comes back or these guys come back and this shit gets bad. As we're opening up the curtains, there's like maybe a couple of people standing outside, a whole bunch of truck drivers. You started hearing the trucks sound off one by one and they were getting the fuck out of there. And that was an even more reason for me to hey, we need to move on. We were only 3 minutes from Costco. And that's the way I like to do it. If I have to be there super early in the morning, I want to be parked and knocking on their fucking door right whenever it's my time so that I can keep moving throughout the day. So we were 3 minutes away from Costco and I was like, fuck it. It's 2 o'clock in the morning now. We got to be there at 5:30. I can check in at 5. We're just going to go chill in the fucking Costco parking lot. So we go ahead and we open the curtain. I set up the personal conveyance. I put on there that I need to go to a safe haven. We open the curtains very quickly. We get situated. And this couple pulls up in a truck right next to me. And they look beat down. They're tired. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is the only truck stop for fucking 68 miles. So they're looking, and you can tell the chick was like, man, this place looks sketch as fuck. She was right. So I look over to my left, and I'm like, don't stay here. And, I rolled down my window. I gave her the short version, just get the fuck out. There's some shit about to go down here. A lot of truck drivers have already left. Like, it's not safe. And, wished her well, and we went on to Costco. We get to Costco, we're chilling and making sure I'm parked out of the way. And I turn off personal conveyance and get back in the sleeper. I'm feeling safe. Even though there's not a soul at Costco, at least they have all the lights on. And where the back of this Costco was, nobody could see us from the street. And that was great. The next thing I know, I'm barely about to doze back off to sleep. And I hear these popping noises. And I'm like, Draven, is that you? Like, what are you doing up there? He was like, those are gunshots. And I was like, I was hoping this kid had serious gas. I was hoping that he was playing with the window covering. No, what I heard was what I heard, and he heard it too. So I was really glad that we had left. Check into Costco, and the guy was like, how long have y'all been there? I said, not long. I promised we didn't stay all night. And I told him, I said, you know, we were parked at that little truck plaza up the way. And he was like, no way. He was like, you know, 2 people got shot there last night. I said, yep, we heard it. And I told him, I said, they were scuffling right here next to the truck. And it got real quiet. And it was just like, you just knew some shit was about to pop off. So thank God that we're safe. Thank God the equipment is safe. We have our lives, and I won't be visiting that truck stop again. So some of the mom and pop places, you know, it sucks when you find these places because it gives the other ones a bad rap. We were in we were in Nevada, and we were at Battle Mountain, Nevada. It could have been Utah. I don't fucking remember. But we stayed at a place called Colt, and it was like a little, it literally looked like we went back in time to the 70s. The Flying J was so cheesy and faded. The people were so country. It was weird. It looked like something out of a Rob Zombie movie. Nicest people, full facilities, like nice little restaurant in there with home cooked food. It was great. And I've 99.8% of the time now have had amazing experiences with the mom and pop places, and nobody really knows that they're there. And we were at another place. I think the second one was actually in Utah. The first one was in Nevada. That was off in the middle of nowhere, desert little area. Hardly anybody. I think there was maybe 10 trucks parked there the whole time, and you could have fit about 30 or 40. So I enjoy staying at those places because you have more access to the facilities, and it's just really quiet at night. People aren't popping off trying to shoot people in the desert. So, you know, it's a learning curve for sure. But if you're ever in a situation where there is shit like that going on outside of your vehicle, especially like right here. Now, had they been a little bit further away and it was like a faint noise, I probably wouldn't have been so worried. But because we were parked so close to the store, whatever the argument was about, it was all going down right by my truck. And at the part where, you know, the truck is moving, something is touching it, like it's time to go. And I'm glad that we did. I've been so busy today, I did not get the story about the shootings or anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check on it later. Maybe I won't. I don't want to know what I missed. I just know that 2 people got shot per the dude at Costco. So moving on, we had 2 Costco drops, one stop and a final destination. And then from there, we went straight to pick up our next load, which was just like 16 miles up the road. We go to San Jose, we pick up at some fiberglass place. Now, California is more shut down than any fucking state, which I think we all know. California is not opening up. We actually walked through a drive-through to get our food. So, yesterday. Before all this other shit went down. So I get to the shipper, and there is a guard shack, which would normally be manned with people, asking for your information. They check you out on the way going out, make sure everything's on the up and up. This one had a sign, and it said, hey, we're not letting people in. Call this phone number and park over there on the side. So we parked on the side. We called the phone number. And right away, he was saying that my number wasn't matching his number. So right off the bat, there was something off with this load. But he was able to find the last four of the bill of lading number that came to me in his system. And he was like, you're going to Tulsa, Arizona. And I said, yes. He said, okay. I want you to go around this building, and there's going to be a guy, the yard dog, basically. They don't like being called that, but that's just what we call them. The yard guy is going to be coming around, and where he parks, walk up some steps, and you'll see a window. Your paperwork will be in the window. And I'm like, what kind of shit is this? So I'm like, okay, I still have my empty trailer, by the way. I go up there. I get the paperwork. None of the stuff is making sense. Now, sometimes Swift will say, this is your bill of lading number, this is your pickup number, and they're actually vice versa. Sometimes the numbers don't quite match up with their numbers, and that happens often because what our planners say certain numbers are, really the shipper or whatever has different numbers, but at the end it all works out. So I was like, okay, maybe this is really gonna work out. I get the paper. The guy is like barricaded behind there, like I don't know fucking what. So I'm yelling through this big glass, and I'm like, hey, where do I drop my empty? Where is the trailer? What is the trailer number? And he said, everything is on the paper, and just drop it wherever. Just make sure that it's clean. And we were like, okay, cool. I pull up, I drop the empty, no big deal. Go looking for the trailer, and the guy points us in the direction. He says, all of these go to Home Depot, Arizona. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Pick up the trailer, and we start moving. We do the pre-trip, we put the lock on, everything is great. We go to leave, there's nobody there to check on us. And when I knew that something was wrong, when I put in the weight on the BOL that I was given was like 19,000. Well, the weight that I was given on my plan, on my pre-trip plan, on my Qualcomm from the planners, said it was supposed to be 42,000. So I call, there's no answer. I call, there's no answer. But the other numbers seem to match up. So I was like, okay, well, maybe something happened. I should have, again, trusted my gut. I get to the scale. The nearest scale was like 100 miles away. Get to the scale. I get on the scale, and my fear was confirmed. This fucking load is not the load I'm supposed to have. So I call my driver leader. I'm driving, I look at the fucking trailer numbers, I'm looking at all this stuff, and I call her and I tell her, hey, I don't think this shit is right. Like, this is what I was given as a plan. Some of the information matches the paperwork, some of the information doesn't. But the guy said that this load was going to the Home Depot in Arizona. Come to find out, this load is not going to, it is a Home Depot load. That is true. But this particular load is actually for some private client with a Home Depot. It's a personal order in Utah. I'm trying to go home for the weekend and drop my son off. And now I'm headed Southern California because I was going to Arizona. So now I have the guy from San Jose calling. I have the terminal from Utah calling. And then, of course, I have my driver leader calling because I called her immediately. Once I confirmed that this load did not match up, I was just like, I don't think that this is just, a typo. Like, this shit doesn't fit. So now, instead of being in Arizona tomorrow, one day closer to being in Houston, we were scheduled to be in Houston on Friday. Now it looks like it's going to be like Saturday night. Because tomorrow I get to drive 3.5 hours south of here to Jurupa Valley, and we're going to go ahead and T-call this load so that somebody can pick it up and actually take it back up to Utah. So, things happen. This is the first time it's ever happened to me. I've heard that this kind of shit happens to other people. It's never happened to me. I'm usually pretty fucking thorough with everything that I do. And like I said, sometimes the numbers don't really add up. And it just really has to do with communication. But, I think that I was still a little frazzled from the events of the night before. And, while the guy could have been a little bit more on point with his job, at the end of the day, it's the driver's job, and I take responsibility for that. And, I told my driver leader, and she stuck up for me, and she was like, whoever she called, it was like, no, it's going to Home Depot. Just go ahead and tell her to keep forwarding it. Because I was like, look, I'm only 100 miles away. Let me just turn around, go get the right load, and I'll just be a few hours behind schedule. And they were like, no, it is going to Home Depot. Come to find out, the guy didn't know what the fuck was going on. And now the load needs to be T-called, and we're going to be one day short of getting home on time. But, that's trucking. Last year, I would have been furious. I probably would have been crying. But, I've learned so much that it's just like, shit happens. I'm not perfect. I don't expect other people to be perfect. While I do expect the shippers to kind of know what's going on with their stuff that we're hauling, life happens, and people here in California specifically really seem to be concerned with the whole, they don't let you in their facilities. They don't let you use their restrooms. They just don't. They don't want you. The truck stops are fucking amazing. I've got to give it to the truck stops, man. They have people round the clock cleaning. We haven't had issues with showers. Granted, you do need to get here pretty fucking early. But we haven't had problems with any of that. The food, going to the stores and going into the truck stops. But when you go to these shippers and receivers, like, they come out, they meet you, you don't get out of the truck, you don't do anything. You chalk your wheels, you back your truck, your trailer, and you just fucking sit in the car and await instructions, which, I'm okay with. But, everybody's doing their part. And then, like I said, you got those few jackasses that are just running around here like it's, it's a regular fucking day in the hood, and that's just not the case. So everybody's on high alert. Everybody is sick of fucking quarantine. I saw signs in Nevada, billboards even, that said, hashtag open Nevada now. Nevada, of all places? Come on, man. You know how many hands touch how many different machines? Like, calm down. There is not going to be, going back to normal. Our lives are, forever changed because of this. And really, until there's a vaccine, we need to be, very, very cautious and make sure that we're doing our part. We're not sick, but other people could be and they wouldn't know. And you just gotta, make sure that you're doing your part. That's all we can ask, is just do your fucking part. And a lot of places mandate, if you don't have a mask, they kick you out. And I love that. Wear your fucking mask. Wear your mask. Take it off as soon as you get out the store. That's what I do, because I wear a lot of expensive skincare on my face, and a lot of it is essential oils that I pay a really good fucking penny for. And I don't need my mask soaking up the oils that I need to go in my face to keep me looking young. So, I wear it when I'm supposed to. I get out, I take it off. Do that. Just really, really do your part. But, yeah, so be careful wherever you are. Be aware of where you are. If shit's going down, just fucking leave. You have personal conveyance. Use it. I did, and it didn't fuck up my clock. There's a big misconception out there that if you're doing your 10-hour reset or even your 34-hour reset, that if you move that vehicle, if you move your tractor with personal conveyance, that fucks up the whole thing. And that's just not true. I've been doing this now for a while, and that's not true. It's just not. But if you're leaving a terminal and you're on personal conveyance, they make you turn your truck off, it sucks. Do not roll that tractor until you make sure that that thing still has you in personal conveyance. Because when you turn the truck off and you turn it back on, even though sometimes it prompts you, hey, do you want to still stay in personal conveyance? You hit yes, you're actually not in personal conveyance, and it can kick you on to driving really, really fast. I try not to personal convey leaving terminals because it fucks you every single time. Hopefully that's something that they can fix. We can talk really loud. If the people at the scales can hear us when we're yelling, and they have 40 million trucks, putting fuel to the side, I think the people inside can hear us with our tractors on. But use your personal conveyance. That's what it's there for. And it's meant to not only, getting you to, the store and getting your essentials. That's an afterthought. It's more so to make sure if you run out of time, you can get yourself to a safe place. If your safe place becomes unsafe, turn that shit on. It had already passed midnight, so my hour was good. Move to a better place. It's just nothing in that fucking trailer is worth your life. You are the most precious cargo you're ever going to carry, and our final destination is always home. So, we're off to bed. We're getting up early, headed to Harupa Valley. Pretty sure my taco people aren't going to be there. That's going to be depressing. I miss them. That's one of my favorite terminals. But we got to make our fucking way to Houston, man. We got to get to Houston. So, y'all stay safe out there. Mistakes happen. Roll with the punches. Communicate with your driver leaders, and they'll get you taken care of. And kudos to all of you who have signed up for Swift. I'm totally stoked for y'all. You're gonna have days where you're gonna be like, this sucks major fucking ass. What the hell did these people talk me into? Stick with it. Stick with it. It's gonna be great. I promise. All right. Until next time. Peace out. Stay safe.